Well, that is the music of Scott MacIntyre. You probably remember him from the 8th season of American Idol. He finished 8th, but he did more than just compete. He won the hearts of so many Americans. Scott MacIntyre, who is a person who's been battling all his life, and not just battling to be the American Idol, but he's battled with visual impairment and kidney failure and a host of challenges. But through it all, he has remained a remarkably resilient and an optimistic person. And what a pleasure. He joins me now here on the Mike Huckabee Show. I couldn't be happier to welcome Scott MacIntyre, author of a brand new book called By Faith, Not By Sight. Scott, welcome to the Mike Huckabee Show.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to speak with you. Excited to be here.
Well, the excitement is mine. You have made a lot of fans over the course of not just your American Idol appearances, but also beyond that as you have continued your musical career. A lot of people, when they hear your music, they don't even realize that you have battled with some severe, I would say, limitations, but it doesn't appear to have limited you at all.
Yeah, I really only told a fraction of my story on American Idol. People were really inspired all over the world by how I overcame my disability and competed on Idol and made it in the music industry. But there's actually a lot more to it. Blindness was only the beginning, and you mentioned it there at the beginning. At 19 years old, I found out I had stage 4 kidney failure, and I've never talked about this before. The book, By Faith, Not By Sight, is the first time I'm actually talking more about this story. And through that all, picking out the title for the book, I think, was a great testament to this, because when you try to condense your story into a few words, I found out that title really was the theme of my life. Because of my blindness, because of all the different challenges I've had to face, I literally had to trust people, I had to trust others, myself, most importantly God, in a deeper way than I would have otherwise.
Well, God opened up some pretty remarkable doors for Scott MacIntyre. I read the story that you had studied with Walter Kosland at Arizona State University in music.
Yes, Walter Kosand, and I actually started college at an unusually young age. I went to college at 14 years old.
You had been homeschooled, so you really had completed all of your secondary educational requirements. But at 14, you went to college.
Yeah, I started college at 14. I never planned it that way. It's just how it worked out for me. And by the time I was 19 years old, I was graduating. And I felt like, I really felt like I had overcome my disability at that point. I was graduating from college. I was a Marshall Scholar, a Fulbright Scholar. I had all these honors. I was honored to give the commencement speech. And amidst all that fanfare and all that excitement, feeling like the world was at my fingertips, that is the very day, graduation day, that I received the news of my kidneys failing. And it literally felt like I was on the top of a mountain and in the deepest valley at the very same time.
Now, Dr. Kosland not only was a music professor, but I think his family played a significant role in your recovery. Tell me about that, because I was just, this is one of those stories, it's like, you can't make this up.
Yeah. It's amazing. I got to know him a little bit, as a teacher-student relationship through college, and then when I found out at graduation I was dealing with this problem, I felt like suddenly my whole future was very unclear to me. And I remember I went through a time that I was so sick I couldn't even play the piano or sing in my own living room. And I believed with my whole heart that I was put here to share those gifts and talents with those around me. And when I couldn't do that, all of a sudden, it just killed me. I eventually ended up on dialysis, and for those of you who know what that is, it's not a fun process, and I couldn't see any way I would be able to tour again and share my life and my music with people. But then in August of 2007, Dr. Kosand's wife, Patricia, donated her kidney to me and saved my life.
How did she find out that she was a match to be a donor?
It was a long process. While I was on dialysis waiting, Mayo tested one person at a time. We were really blessed to have a couple people step forward, and one at a time they were disqualified, and I kept being disheartened time after time. I learned not to get my hopes up. I didn't know if I'd be on dialysis for the rest of my life, but then she was actually approved to be my donor, and I remember that day. I talk about it in the book. It was just so surreal to think that this thing I'd been hearing about and dreading and looking forward to and praying about, a kidney transplant, was actually going to happen.
Did she approach you at some point when she found out about your situation with the kidney failure and say, "Hey, I'll test to see if I would"?
She was actually the very first person
really
to offer, and she had no reservations. She was. It just blows me away. She was completely selfless. For some reason, she was just touched enough by my music, and she barely knew me, by the way, but my music touched her enough that she literally wanted to give of herself so I could keep on giving to others.
Scott MacIntyre is my guest. He was in the 8th season of American Idol, finished 8th in that particular season. He's got a remarkable new book called By Faith, Not by Sight. We're talking about his very powerful and inspirational story. I mean, you may be out there listening today thinking, my life's such a mess. I have so many problems, and maybe you do. But I want you to listen to Scott because I'm not sure that they add up quite as significantly as his did all of a sudden. You find yourself, you're blind, you have kidney failure. On one hand, everything could have been going great. You're 19, you're already a college graduate. Now it looks like that you may not make it until your professor's wife offers to give a kidney. I mean, that's a lot of people can give things. I'll write you a check. I'll help pay for your medical expenses. When you give somebody a kidney, it's an irrevocable gift. It's something. It's not like you say, "Here, I'll loan you a kidney for a few months till you feel better, and then I'll get it back."
Yeah, and there are no words to thank that person for what she did to me. It was actually less than a year later, after I had that kidney transplant, that I auditioned for American Idol, and I was just grateful to be on any stage, let alone the American Idol stage. I couldn't believe that I was just a few months earlier in a place where I couldn't even get up off the floor in my own living room, and now I was singing on the American Idol stage. I was going on tour around the world. It was the most amazing turn of events.
Does she still keep in touch with you? Do you have regular contact with her?
She does. Yeah, we keep in touch whenever we can, and the other reason I'm excited about this is because I've been traveling the country. I'm on tour right now. We were in 15 states last year, and I'm going all over the country, and we've been to Japan and the Kennedy Center. All the tour dates are on my website, actually, scottmacintyre.com. But we actually partnered with Donate Life America on this book, By Faith, Not by Sight. So when people get the book, there's actually a whole page devoted to Donate Life. You can find out more about how to be an organ donor on my website as well, and give hope to someone in need just like me.
Scott MacIntyre, thank you so much. What a great story. We need good news.
Be here, and I'm just so excited to be able to go deeper, be able to be vulnerable with people. The book is in stores now, Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble. You can get it on my website as well, scottmacintyre.com.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to have you here, and I hope people will get a copy. By Faith, Not by Sight. Again, a remarkably inspirational story. We all need that every now and then. For all the bad news that we have to talk about, on this show, we're going to give you some good news and tell you about some good people. And speaking of good people, we got one coming up. Steve Forbes. He's good people. He knows about the economy. We'll talk to him about it next. This is the Mike Huckabee Show.
Can I hear an amen?